Hello everyone, welcome back to the Literary Lens channel where we simplify the English literature for students who are preparing for the UGC NET, PGT exams and various SET exams and MA entrance exams as well. So today we'll explore Indian aesthetics, which is a very crucial topic not only for the UGC NET English Literature exam but also for the understanding of the rich cultural heritage of Indian literary criticism. So here we'll cover key concepts like Rasa theory, Dhvani theory, Alankara, Aucitya and many more. So these theories form the foundation of Indian poetics and are often compared with the Western literary criticism. So grab your notebooks and let's get started with our today's lecture. So first we need to understand what Indian aesthetic was. So Indian aesthetics refers to the theories and philosophies that explain the nature of beauty, art and literary experiences in an Indian tradition. So, unlike Western aesthetics, which often focus on form, structure, realism, Indian aesthetics emphasizes the emotional and spiritual experience. So, it is deeply rooted in Sanskrit literary tradition and it is connected to philosophy, religion, and psychology. So, the foundational text for Indian aesthetics includes Bharat's Natya Sastra and Anandavardhana's Dhvanyalokam. So, these texts explore how art transforms human experience by invoking some rasas, which are emotions, or creating some spiritual harmony. So, Indian aesthetics is all about that explain the nature of beauty, art, and literary experience that we follow in our Indian tradition. So, I hope now you have gained a quite bit of understanding about what Indian aesthetic was. Now let's dive into most important theories of Indian aesthetics. So I'll explain each theory briefly with some examples so that you'll be able to understand it better and you'll remember it for the longer period of time. So first let's learn or let's understand what Rasa theory is. So Rasa theory is taken from Bharat's Natya Sastra. So the Rasa theory defines the essence of artistic experience as the evocation of emotion. So Bharat identifies 8 primary rasas. Later he expanded to 9 with when he added Santa rasa. We'll learn more about these 8 rasas, but as of now, just remember that Bharat identifies 8 primary rasas. Later he expanded to 9th rasa when he added Santa rasas to it. For example, let's take an example so that you will understand the rasa theory better. So, I think you all have watched Ramayana or you all have listened to Ramayana. So, in Ramayana, the scene of Sita's abduction, where Sita was kidnapped, we can say, the scene evokes the Karuna rasa, which was known as the pathos. So, as and if we compare this Karuna Rasha, then while we take the scene of Hanuman's bravery, the bravery of Hanuman evokes some Veera Rasa, that is the rasa of heroism. So you just imagine that where Sita was kidnapped, and you all feel in your heart that oh my God, I'm so sad for her. It's like a pity. It's like Karuna Rasa. The Karuna Rasa is evoked in your heart for Sita. While if we take about Hanuman's bravery or Rama's bravery, Lakshman's bravery, uh, it evokes some Veera Rasa, that they are doing some heroic act. So it evokes some Veera Rasa in our heart. Now let's move to Dhvani theory. So Dhvani theory is taken from Anandavardhana's Dhvanyalokam. So Dhvani, or we can say in English it's suggestion, that is the soul of the poetry. So it emphasizes the explicit meaning behind words, which transcends the literal and metaphorical. If we take for an example, Kalidas' description of dawn in Meghaduta suggests not only the morning's beauty but also the longing of the separated lovers. So if we look at the scene from a metaphorical view, we'll find that the scene in Meghaduta, the scene of dawn in Meghaduta suggests not only the morning's beauty but also the longing of the two separated lovers. I hope you understand what Dhvani theory is. Now let's move to Alankar. So from the name itself, you must be understanding that Alankar is somehow related to ornaments. So ornaments in our poetry or ornaments in our literature, we can say ornaments are the figures of speech. So, alankaras are ornamental devices like similes, metaphors, alliteration that enhance the beauty of the literature. For example, the metaphor, the line, please note the line, her face is the moon. So, it is a Rupaka Alankara, which used to convey the beauty. So, we are comparing her face to the moon. As you know, in the metaphor, we compare two unfamiliar things, but without using like or as. And in case of simile, we use like and as to compare two unfamiliar things. So here the metaphor her face is the moon is a Rupaga Alankara that is used to convey the beauty. So some of the Alankars we talked about are similes, metaphor, alliteration and many more. Now let's move to Achyuta, that is appropriateness. So this term Achyuta was introduced by Kesamendra. So Achyuta focuses on the propriety in the use of language, emotions and situation in literature. For example, a tragic scene should evoke some sorrow, not laughter, which ensures that the emotional consistency is valid enough. I hope now you understand that it talks about the Achyuta theory talks about the appropriateness which was propounded by Kesamendra. Please note all these things so that you'll understand. By the time I'll finish the video, you'll have a look on your notes that you made, and you will quickly revise and you'll quickly remember everything that I taught in this video. So I hope now you understood what appropriateness. It is all about the exact thing happening on the right time. When there is a scene of sorrow, when there is a scene of accident, we must feel sorrow, not laughter. And when there is a comedy taking place, we are not in the place of crying. We'll be laughing at the scene. So this is the appropriateness. So this theory, this Achyuta theory is all about the appropriateness. Now let's move to Vakroti. So Vakroti is the oblique expression. So Vakroti was coined by Kuntaka, and Vakroti refers to creative deviation in expression, making literature unique and artistic. Let's take an example so that you will be able to understand. Instead of saying the sun sets, a poet might write the tired sun slips into the embrace of the ocean. Now, please look at the line once more. The sun sets. In a normal man or normal people will say the sun sets. But who has some poetic language, the poet, he might write the tired sun slips into the embrace of the ocean. So Vakroti was all about the creative deviation in expression which makes our literature more unique and artistic. Now let's move to Sadharana Nikarna. So it is known as the universalization. So this concept explains how individual emotion in art are universalized, allowing the audience to relate to them. For an example, a love story like Sakuntala resonates with the audiences across the time because its emotions are universal. So, Sadharana Nikarna is all about the universalization because we relate to a scene because it is considered as universal. So this is all about some of the core concepts of the Indian aesthetics. Now let's understand about each theory in details. So, the Rasa theory formulated by Bharata in his Natya Shastra, it is a cornerstone of Indian aesthetics. It explains the essence of aesthetic experience in art, so it is particularly in drama and poetry. So, according to this theory, the purpose of art is to evoke rasa, which means flavor or essence, to the audience. So some of the core elements of Rasa theory are rasa, bhava. So rasa is the aesthetic experience or emotional flavor that the audience feels while engaging with the art itself. So it arises from the interplay of emotion that is depicted in the work. Next, if talk about bhava, then bhavas are the emotions or state of mind that is expressed by the artistic or characters, which serves as the foundation of rasa. So this bhava serves the foundation of rasa. When we feel sad or when we feel happiness, it evokes some kind of rasas in us. So bhava is the foundation of rasa. So bhavas are two types. Sthayi bhava, that is the permanent emotion. Example: love, anger, heart. These are the sthayi bhavas. And next we have vyabhichari bhava. So vyabhichari bhava is the transient emotion that supports the sthayi bhava. Then we have, as I already said, that we have 8 primary rasas. Later it expanded to 9th rasa, while Bharat Muni added Santa rasa to it. So let's talk about the 8 types of rasa or 9 types of rasas. So first is Sringara rasa, that is known as love. Hasya rasa, which is laughter. Karuna rasa, which is the compassion or pity. Raudra rasa, that is anger. Veera rasa, that is courage. Bhayankara, that is fear. Vivasya, that is disgust. Adbhuta, that is wonder. Santa, that is peace. So I hope now you know the 9 kind of rasas, and I hope you'll remember the name of these 9 rasas. Now let's take some examples of rasa theory. So as I already said, in Ramayana, the scene of Sita's abduction by Ravan evokes some karuna rasa, that is compassion in us, while Hanuman's, Sri Rama's, Lakshmana's bravery rescues evokes some veera rasa or heroism in us. So here if we take some other examples, that is Sringara rasa. If we talk about Sringara rasa, that is love. So in Kalidasa's Avijnana Sakuntalam or films like Mughal Ajam, we feel that Sringara rasa when we watch that film or when we read that work. Some Sringara rasa or the rasa of love evokes within us. Now if we talk about Draupadi's disrobing in Mahabharata, it evokes Karuna rasa. We pity with her. And if we talk about some patriotic songs like Bande Mataram, Bande Utkal Janani, they evoke some Veera rasa, that is the rasa of heroism. And if we talk about some Adbhuta rasa, we feel that Adbhuta rasa by some cosmic dance of Nataraja, Ravindranath Tagore's poetry. So these are some of the examples of rasa theory. I hope you'll after watching this video you'll never forget what rasa theory is, and please remember the name of the 9 rasas theories. Next we have Alankara. So Alankara in Indian aesthetics refers to the figures of speech or ornaments of language that is used to enhance the beauty and the effectiveness of poetry or prose. So it is a vital aspect of classical Indian literary theory, which emphasizes how the artistic expression can be made more appealing through the stylistic examples. So now we'll learn about some types of Alankara. The first one is Sabda Alankara, that is sound based. So this Sabda Alankara focus on the musical quality of language such as alliteration or rhyme. We take for an example, repetition of sounds in sea cells by the seashore. So it is an example of Sabda Alankara. So these alliteration or rhyme makes makes us focus on the musical quality of the language. Now, if we talk about the Artha Alankara, that is meaning based. So these Artha Alankara rely on the creative meanings such as metaphors, similes, personification. So for an example, her smile is the dawn. So it is an example of metaphor. So through this we are comparing her smile to the moon or to the dawn or to the or to some beautiful things. We are comparing, we're saying that her smile is so beautiful, and in poetic way or in artistic way we're just saying that her smile is like a dawn, or her smile is like a moon. So these type of meaning based alankaras come under artha alankara. So let's understand what is the purpose of the alankar. So alankaras enrich the text by adding layers of beauty, depth, emotional impact, which makes the literary work more engaging and memorable. If we take for an example, in Kalidasa's Meghaduta, as I already said about this example, in Kalidasa's Meghaduta, the clouds are compared to a caring messenger, which showcases a Rupak Alankara, that is metaphor. So that it enhances the emotional connection that the audience has with the poem. Next, we have Dhvani. So, Dhvani is introduced by Anandavardhana in his seminal work Dhvani Loka, which was published in 19th century. So, this work, Dhvani Loka, is one of the most important concepts in Indian aesthetics. It refers to the suggestive power of language. The language has a suggestive power, and we'll learn about this in this Dhvani. So, this is where the deeper implicit meaning of a word or phrase goes beyond its literal or figurative interpretation. So, according to Dhvani theory, the true beauty of literature lies in its ability to suggest or evoke the emotions and ideas subtly rather than explicitly stating them. So, this suggestion creates a richer aesthetic experience for the reader or to the audience. So, we have some types of Dhvani. The first one is Vastu Dhvani. So, Vastu Dhvani is a suggestion of an idea or content. So, if we take for example, describing a storm to symbolize some emotional turmoil that a character feels within. So, this type of suggestion. It is a suggestion of an idea or content and comes under Vastu Dhvani. Next, let's talk about Alankar Dhvani. So, Alankar Dhvani is the suggestion through some figures of speech. For example, a metaphor that conveys some deeper meanings beyond its surface levels. Now let's move to Rasa Dhvani. So Rasa Dhvani is the suggestion of emotions. For example, a scene depicting falling leaves may evoke some Karuna Rasa or pathos to signify the end of the life. We can connect that when the leaves falls from the tree, we compare that emotion to someone that we have to die one day. So these examples comes under Rasadhvani. So if we take for an example, in Kalidasa's Meghaduta, the imagery of clouds carrying the messages subtly suggests the pain of separation and the yearning for reunion, which creates a profound emotional impact without directly stating the feelings. So Dhvani is considered the soul of poetry as it allows for multiple layers of meanings. It engages the audience imagination and intellect by making literature more impactful and universal. So, Anandavardhana emphasized that a work without Dhvani lacks the depth and aesthetic richness. So, Dhvani theory is often compared to Western concepts like so but don't tell. But it is uniquely emphasizes the emotional and spiritual resonance that is created through suggestion. I hope you understand what Dhvani is. So Dhvani is basically the suggestive power that a language has. So next we have Vakroti, that is obliqueness, which was introduced by Kuntaka in his work Vakroti Jivita, which was published in 10th century. So Vakroti is a key concept in Indian aesthetics, and the term Vakroti literally means the oblique expression or deviation in speech. So this Vakroti refers to the artistic use of language to create beauty and uniqueness in a literary work. So the main key idea behind Vakroti is that Vakroti highlights that creativity in literature comes from how something is expressed, how we express something, that is known as Vakroti, which is not just what is expressed. This is the twist in language through word choice, phrasing, or style that makes the literature aesthetically appealing and impactful. So there are some types of Vakroti. So Kuntaka identifies 6 types of Vakroti which occurs at various levels of expression. So that is the first is Varna Vakroti, which is phonetic. So use of sound patterns to create some artistic effects was known as Varna Vakroti. As for example, the alliteration or onomatopoeia, so these things comes under Varna Vakroti. Now let's understand one more type of Vakroti, that is lexical or Pada Vakroti. So it is the use of unusual or creative word choice. For example, describing Dan as rosy fingered in Homeric epics. So it is the lexical use, or this is known as the usual of unusual or creative word choices in Pada Vakroti. Next we have grammatical, which is Vakya Vakroti. So unique sentence structure or syntax is used in Vakya Vakroti. For example, using inversion for emphasis, like in Silent Night when rest I took. So this is the where grammatical sentence structure is played, and this is known as Vakya Vakroti. The next is figurative, that is Pravandha Vakroti. So in this figurative or Pravandha Vakroti, we use the metaphors, similes, and other figures of speech to ornamentalize the literature or language. For example, comparing a warrior to a lion is known for bravery. So this is the figurative or Pravandha Vakroti. The next is contextual or Vakroti, which was applied in content. So unique presentation of ideas or themes is used in content Vakroti. So for example, using indirect storytelling to reveal the character's motive comes under the contextual meaning or Vakroti, which was applied through some contextual meaning. Next we have compositional, which is Vakroti in structure. So artistic arrangement of narrative elements comes under Vakroti in structure. For example, non-linear storytelling or framing the narratives comes under this type of Vakroti. If we take for example in Kalidasa's Avinjana Sakuntalam, the description of Sakuntala as a vine in full bloom supported by a strong tree is a Vakroti that conveys both her delicate beauty and her reliance on the others for support. So this Vakroti enhances the charm and artistic value of literary works. It showcases the poet's or writer's imaginative use of language. It also depends the reader's engagement by presenting some familiar ideas in phrase in some striking ways. So Kuntaka's theory underscores that the beauty of literature lies in its how, by making Vakroti central to the poetic excellence in Indian aesthetics. So in basic, if we talk, Vakroti is the oblique expression or the deviation in speech that we bring to create beauty and uniqueness in a literary work. Please go through this Vakroti, make some notes on this and go through the points, and you'll definitely will be able to understand this completely. Now let's talk about Achyuta theory. So Achyuta theory was introduced by Kesamendra in his work Achyuta Vichara Charcha, which is a key concept in Indian aesthetics. So this Achyuta emphasizes the propriety or appropriateness in literature. It means that every element of a literary work, that is words, emotions, characters, actions and situations, should be in harmony or should uh, come parallel with the context and purpose of the work. So we can find that harmony and balance was the key idea of Achyuta theory. So Achyuta ensures that this Achyuta theory ensures that there is no mismatch or exaggeration in the presentation of the ideas. A word, character, or emotion should fit the situation, just as an ornament suits the person who wears it. It's all about this Achyuta theory is all about the appropriateness or the proper decorum that should be maintained in literature. For example, while in characterization, a king should speak and act with dignity, while a clown's behavior should be humorous and informal. Because this is the appropriateness of the king. A king should behave like a king. He should act with dignity. He should behave all mature. But a clown's behavior should be humorous and it should be informal. The clown's behavior should make others laugh. So this is the characterization that should be properly appropriate and it should suit the person. For example, in Sakuntala, Kalidas portrays King Dusyanta's speech as noble, commanding, and which was appropriate for his actual real status or royal status. And now, if we talk about in emotion, so tragic scenes should evoke sadness, not humor. So, for example, in Ramayana, the grief of Sita's abduction evokes some Karuna Rasa, while it maintained the propriety or the decorum of emotion. And if we talk about style and language, the use of language must suit the theme and characters. A village girl's speech should differ from a scholar's or from a country girl. So that should be the that will be the appropriate thing. And if you think about or if we talk about themes and actions, themes must align with the moral and aesthetic purpose of the work. What the work wants to present, the themes and actions should go parallel with the work. Otherwise, it will have no connection and the work will have no meaning. It will not be able to evoke any kind of emotion other than anger, I must say. So action should suit the character's role and personality. So Achyuta theory maintains the aesthetic integrity. It enhances rasa, that is emotional impact, or it guides the literary excellence. So if we take for an example, if we take for an example of an inappropriate Achyuta, to know more or to understand what actually Achyuta is, so hero laughing during a tragic scene would disrupt the emotional flow and it will break the audience connection with the narrative. So this is the inappropriateness of Achyuta. So, because in real or in appropriate Achyuta, it reminds the writers and poets to maintain some consistency, harmony, and relevance to ensure that their work resonates both emotionally and intellectually. Now let's talk about the major thinkers of Indian aesthetics. About all those thinkers I already talked about, but let's have a quick recap. So Bharat Muni, who propounded the theory or concept of rasa, and in his major work Natya Shastra. Please, if you haven't noted anything, please start noting these things in your copy and have a quick recap after I end this video, and you'll remember everything for a longer period of time for sure. So Bharat Muni propounded the theory of rasa in his major work Natya Sastra. Next is Abhinav Gupta, who had an expansion of rasa theory in his work Abhinav Bharati. Next is Anandavardhana, who suggested the Dhvani theory or the concept of Dhvani in his work Dhvanyaloka. And now we have Kuntaka, who propounded the theory of Vakroti, that is obliqueness, in his work Vakroti Jivita. And after that, there is Kesamendra, who propounded the theory of Achyuta, that is appropriateness, in Achyuta Vichara Charcha. There are some more thinkers, that is Mamata, who gave the concept of universalization of emotion in Kavya Prakasa. In Vishwanatha Kaviraja, who gave the concept of unified aesthetic philosophy in Sahitya Darpana. Next we have Bhoja, who gave the concept of Sringara as a central rasa in his work Sringara Prakasa. So these thinkers laid the foundation for Indian aesthetics and its influence on literary theory and practice. Now let's learn about how these applications, how these theories have been applied in the modern context. So, if we talk about rasa theory, in literature, writers and poets use rasa to evoke specific emotion in their audience. So, in cinema and theater, filmmakers craft scenes to evoke emotions such as wonder, or in fantasy films, or heroism in action films. And in case of advertisement, also they utilize rasa to connect emotionally with their audience for to inspire empathy in social campaigns. And just like Dhvani theory was used through some modern storytelling. For instance, in the underlying social commentary in To Kill a Mockingbird, it adds layers of meanings beyond the literal narrative. And also in visual arts, like in paintings, photographs, they often use subtle imagery to evoke some emotions. And in also political speeches, we can see that leaders who use metaphor and symbolic language to convey deeper meaning and emotions. And now if we talk about vakroti, that is propounded by Kuntaka, so vakroti is used in creative writing, to create some modern poetry, prose, and even song lyrics, where originality in expression enhances the artistic appeal. For example, in branding, when unique slogans and taglines like think different, which was the logo of Apple, reflects vakroti by deviating from this straightforward expression to create a more lasting impact. And the most famous advertisement was slogan, or the quote we can say, have a break, have a Kit Kat. So whenever we'll see a Kit Kat chocolate, we'll remember this dialogue that have a break, have a Kit Kat. So they use this vakroti to deviate from straightforward expression to create a lasting impact. And also in achyuta was used in content creation to maintain the appropriateness of tone, language, and context for some modern storytelling or marketing. For example, addressing serious issues like climate change requires a solemn tone, while humor works better for light-hearted content. In cinema, TV, or in public communication also, we can see that Achyuta ensures the characters' behaviors and dialogue match their roles and the context. The protagonist or the hero will behave how a hero should behave. He will not behave, the protagonist will not behave like an antagonist, or antagonist will not behave like a protagonist. So this is where the Achyuta theory was applied. Just like the Sringara Rasa, universalization of emotion by Mamata, they are also used somehow used variously in modern context. Now, if we compare the Indian aesthetics with the Western aesthetics, it's essential to understand how Indian aesthetics differ from its Western counterpart. Indian aesthetics centers on emotion, while Western aesthetics often emphasizes the structure and realism. Indian theories integrate spirituality with art, as seen in Santarasa representing the ultimate peace, while Western aesthetics, on the other hand, tends to separate art from spirituality. And now, if we talk about the holistic approach, Indian poetics combines philosophy, religion, art into one system, whereas Western traditions often compartmentalize these fields. So, these are some of the key comparison or the key differences we can see between Indian aesthetics and Western aesthetics. So, Indian aesthetics offers some profound insights into the essence of art and literature. It is mostly relevant for exams like UGC NET, PGT, M entrance exam. They ask questions from Indian aesthetics. So we have to memorize the key text like Bharata's Natya Sastra, where he propounded the Rasa theory, Anandvardhana's Dhvanyaloka, Kuntaka's Vakroti, Kesamendra's Achyuta. We have to remember this key text and who propounded which theory in which work. They ask direct questions from it, and we should understand the key difference. We should understand the key comparison between Indian and Western aesthetics for some quick revision, because in NET we can see that the NT was asking some deeper level questions. He will ask some characterization of the Indian aesthetics. He will go behind the history of Indian aesthetics, and he can also ask like state some difference between how Western aesthetics is different from Indian aesthetics. He can ask questions from this. So we need to understand these histories or the characterization of these things better, so that you will not face any kind of problems in exam if we face these kind of questions. So, and we have to focus on the examples, like in the example of Meghaduta I gave in Dhvani theory, or Ramayana for Rasa theory. They are frequently asked in exam, and there are some important questions like what is the significance of Santarasa, what does Dhvani enhances poetic beauty, who introduced the concept of Achyuta. These type of questions were asked in exam. So please make sure that you go through the video in a very detailed manner, so that you will be able to understand whatever I taught in this. And so I think I hope now, after watching this video, every doubt that you have regarding Indian aesthetics will vanish, and you will do better in the exam after watching this video. So that's all for today's video on Indian aesthetics. I hope you found this section helpful for understanding the richness of Indian literary tradition. If you have any kind of questions, please drop them in the comment section below, and I'll definitely try to answer all of them. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more such detailed lectures that will definitely going to help you in exam. And until next time, keep exploring literature and good luck with your preparation for the upcoming exams. See you all in the next video.